Southie from Heavyweight News, and I'm joined here with Ian Jumbo Johnson. Ian, how are you doing today, sir?
Very well, sir, thank you.
Thanks for having me down.
My pleasure, thank you for coming.
Really appreciate it. Lovely space you got, and like you say, you're...
Yeah, I'm very lucky. Martin, the owner, Martin Hollis, he lets me rent it, and I'm very lucky and blessed that he did do.
How long you been here?
2 months.
About 2 months
Yeah,
now. And where were you before? You had
I was
your own-
working outside, doing it all outside in the open, but I couldn't do another winter. I think it was a bit too much.
Absolutely.
So.
We were just talking about you're going to Liverpool, so you're going to be...
Yeah, I'm going to go tomorrow morning to Liverpool. I'll leave early in the morning, get up there, get tested, then have a little rest, settle down, and get to the show probably by about 2:30, 3:15, because I think the first fight's about 4:30. They go live at 6, so I think they got 3 or 4 before they go live on the Facebook, and then they go live at around about 6 o'clock.
And we were also talking, do you still enjoy that side of things? Do you still enjoy the travelling?
I love it. I get a buzz. I couldn't do anything else. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have boxing.
You're addicted?
I'm addicted. I'm a workaholic. I'm a boxaholic. I love it.
Well, you've been around for a while now.
Yeah.
Just tell the viewers about how you came about what you do now. Who were your influences?
Excuse me. Well, I first started helping out at a couple of gyms and doing a bit there, and then I had a falling out with one of the trainers. He said I wouldn't make anything of myself, so I decided to go away and try and prove him wrong, and really the rest is history. I really wanted to do the cut work, and I got speaking to a guy at Matchroom, and I started working at Matchroom, doing some bits and bobs, nearly 27 years ago. And I went out and got my cut licence and trainer's licence, and I then met the late great cutman to the stars, Al Gavin from Bethpage, New York. He gave me some pointers, told me about conducting yourself inside and out the ring as a professional. Try and be as nice and as polite as you can, because it'll get you a long way, but that is also in life, common courtesy.
Of course.
Yeah, we went from there.
And obviously, you've been really up close and personal in a lot of these fights. A couple of names: Josh Kelly, Okolie quite recently, Katie Taylor, who again you do quite a lot of work with. What would you say is your favourite memory from all of these fights you've been a part of?
Oh, there's so many. Going to Germany with Nathan Cleverly was fantastic when he beat Jürgen Bremer. And obviously then we went to America and lost to... my mind's gone blank. On the undercard of Mayweather and McGregor, we went there and we got beat. But Katie always treats me well. Her whole team are fantastic. They're lovely people. Her mum and everybody, Brian, and her trainer Ross. And there's so many. I've been lucky enough to work once with Tyson Fury when he fought Pianetta in Belfast. I've worked with Billy Joe. Sometimes you get asked back again, sometimes you don't. It isn't always that you've done anything wrong. It's just that they move on and they go with different trainers and everything. Josh Kelly was always good. Josh Kelly was entertaining. Unfortunately he lost his last fight, but I think he'll come back from that. He'll be bigger and better. I've been lucky with some of the trainers that I've worked with to get the jobs I get. With Adam Booth. And now also with Shane McGuigan. I couldn't thank Shane enough. He's looked after me and given me work, and he obviously believes in me. But one fight that always stands out is the first one I done with Ryan Burnett when he won the world title against Haskins.
Big cut. Forehead cut. He came back, and Adam spoke to him, and then we were looking at maybe winning the next 3 rounds, and then saying the cut was too bad, or thinking the referee might say that. But I stopped it. And you're only as good as your last fight. You have to do what you have to do. People say to me, how good a cutman are you? Where are you? Listen, there's Jason Fielding, there's Jamie Sheldon, there's Adam Gigley. There's so many good cutmen out there, and you're only as good as your last fight. You do a good job, you stop the flow, you come back. If you don't stop the flow and they think you haven't done a good job, you could end up without a job. I completely agree, and I've heard you say previously that you don't want to take all the credit for that Ryan Burnett cut. No. Because Ryan Burnett didn't get cut like that before. Never been cut before. And he went at you worked together, didn't you? So you stopped the cut, he went out there and got the business. He still had to do that, didn't he? Still had to win. Especially when he got past the round of not being able to call it
Yeah.
on the 4 rounds.
As the cutman there, Jumbo, what do you do to stop the fighter from panicking in that situation?
Well, he's got to believe in you from the word go. And, you know, when they come back, it's happened to before. How bad's the cut? How bad? Listen, don't worry about the cut. I can deal with this. You go and do what you do best. You do what you do. You win this fight. And you stay calm. You don't panic. You've got to be talking calmly. You can't go, oh, yeah. You know, you just get on with it. When I saw Ryan's cut, I thought to myself, holy moly, that is a cut. Right, here we go.
Was that the biggest cut you had dealt with?
No,
up to that point?
No. I dealt with a cut for a guy from Hungary called Joseph Matocci.
Yeah.
He was fighting for WBF light middleweight champion at Wolverhampton Civic Hall against Marcus Portman, who was a very tall southpaw. I think he was with Errol Johnson. But they clashed heads and there was a little wishbone split, and then they clashed heads again and a punch, and it went a bit bugger. And then it went again, and it was a hole in the eyelid. And when he come back to the corner, and I put pressure on it, I let it off and it went squirt, and I just looked at Ian John Lewis, shook my head, and he come over and he looked at it and it was stopped. That's the only fight that's ever been stopped for a cut for me. And I think he had 16 internal stitches, 16 external stitches.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you as Jumbo.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that name from?
Because I could eat like an elephant. I got pictures on my phone when I was 21 stone 10.
Oh, that's
And I could
a big
eat.
boy.
When we used to go to football years ago, I used to drive. Every time they'd have a pint, I'd have a pie. Every time they'd have a pint, I'd have a portion of chips. And they called me Jumbo because I could eat like an elephant. Now I don't eat like an elephant, and I'm down to about 13 stone 5.
But the name sticks.
6. It's been in my trademark with the elephant. A friend of mine found me an elephant on a stool, and then another friend of mine drew that, and then I got it put together and trademarked. You know, so
Along with a trademark clap as well.
Yeah, trademark clap above the head. Yeah.
Which I look for every time you're in a corner.
That started because my wrist, because I couldn't pound it, I used to hold it and just tap it.
Yeah.
Because of when I had the operation on my wrist, took the bone away, it's fused 7-inch and 4-inch from the accident in 2001 with a lorry when I worked on a post office. And I had just done that then, because most people go like that, you know, and it just stuck. It don't hurt now, but when I first started doing it, that was that, you know.
And it sticks around.
It sticks, yeah.
With the black gloves on as well.
Oh, I can't work without gloves, because
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody has got anything, but when you're working like I do with a lot of away fighters, you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
And I'm 62 going 63, so I need to make sure and look after myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Lots going on in the heavyweight division at the moment. So it's up and down. You know, we hear of fights happening, then it dies out, like the AJ Fury fight that we were all anticipating. What it looks like now, though, is that they're going to make Dillian Whyte the mandatory, if not already, to fight Fury. What's your opinion on that fight? Who do you think would be victorious in that one?
I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Dillian Whyte will try to close the distance, but you've got to say that Tyson Fury, since Muhammad Ali, is probably the biggest heavyweight there has been that can dance and move and use his reach to his advantage. I think he would win the fight. You know, I like Dillian, but I just think he's clever. I might be wrong, but I think Tyson would. You know.
I think with Fury, if anyone's going to beat him, it's someone that's going to really push their weight onto him. It's someone who's not going to allow him to dance around. And the reason I think it's such an exciting fight is because I think White's the person to do that. He knows that he's not going to try and outbox him as such. Although he's got great ring craft, I think he's going to go in there and try and bully him and catch him with one of them hooks.
Big overhand rights or the hooks, and that could win in a fight. But you know, we thought he would get stopped or beaten by Wilder, but he put on a masterclass the first time and didn't get the result. A better masterclass the second time, and he didn't have a better masterclass the first time, even though he got dropped.
Yeah.
He just takes it to another level. Look, I like Dillian and I like Tyson, and I just want to see a great fight. I really do, and I think everyone wants to see a great heavyweight fight.
That's all that the heavyweight division's about. We want to see knockouts. We want to see the fighters putting everything into it. We want to see
the best against the best.
Absolutely, and I think the promoters do all they can to make that happen. There is a lot of politics in boxing. There always will be now.
Will be.
Unfortunately, the heavyweights are kind of split into two sides. You've got Eddie Hearn's lot, you've got Frank Warren's lot.
It's just about making them happen.
But also, you see, you've got Sky and Wasserman, Sauerland. You know, I mean, look at Filip Hrgovic. I've worked with Hrgovic. He's pushing. It looks like he could be fighting the Japanese or Chinese fella Chang. They're putting that up.
Who's a good fighter.
It's a bit great fight.
Chinese fighter
Filip
out of
can
America.
punch. I mean, if you look back on YouTube and watch him and Wilder sparring when he was 21, you know, 19, 20, whatever, and I think he was the one who cut David Hayes' eye when he was supposed to fight Tyson. You know, he's a good heavyweight and he can punch. So there's great fights out there.
Yeah. What did you make of the Usyk AJ fight? What did you make of that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium massive event? Obviously, Usyk got the victory.
I just don't think he was able to cope with the movement. He was quick, elusive, didn't stand still, punch, move, position, punch again. You know, and when you're a bigger man and let's be honest, he was a little bit slower than Usyk. Usyk was able to get shots in, blah, blah, blah. I just think it completely. He obviously thought he was going to be able to get there and bully him, and it didn't happen. I like AJ. Don't get me wrong, you know, but Usyk just was not there to be hit. You can't hit what you can't. You can't hit what's not there.
No. Well, quite recently, Fury has mentioned that he wants to, probably in slightly different words, but he wants to go in and beat the shit out of Usyk. Now, if anyone's going to beat Usyk at his own game, it's going to be someone like Fury.
Because they've got the reach.
Sheer size, reach, and ability to move how Usyk does, if not better. So I'll be looking forward to see that. But then there's been talks of AJ's step-aside money. I don't know if it's completely true, the amount, 40 million.
It's like anything. It's like football transfers. Believe what you believe until you see it happen. Yeah. I don't care what happens on the outside. Let them do what they got to do. Let's just see them on the inside. If they get step-aside money and it happens, fine. If it doesn't, and it doesn't happen, then that's the way it is. Like you say, it's politics.
What about you watching boxing throughout the years? What's been your favourite fight of all time?
Mickey Ward, Gatti 2.
And were you there?
Yes.
You were, weren't you?
I was on crutches.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Because Mickey came over and fought Shane Neary, and I'd done some security with Mickey then, and his brother Dickie Eklund, and the rest of the team, Sal Musamichi, Sal Lanano, and the promoters from Boston. Then I went out to Boston with Mickey, and I watched him fight in Foxwood, and then I went to Atlantic City because the guy who taught me the cut game, Al Gavin Senior, who was Lennox Lewis's cut man for 12 or 13 years.
So he knew his stuff.
He knew his, he knew his onions. Yeah, he was very good. His son lived in Bethpage, New York, and I went and see him and stayed in Westbury on Old Country Road. And I went up with the old boxer Jake Rodriguez from America. I went up with him and a couple of others in the car, and we went to Atlantic City and watched 2 and 3. I was in hospital for 1 after the crash, but I went up and watched 2 and 3. And yeah, had some great times with Mickey in Longmass. We went to Medford, went into John Ruiz's gym and done some bits in there. And everyone was fantastic, so polite and so nice. But yeah, Ward Gatti 2. Oh, what a fight!
So you would say that's one of your favourites of all time?
Yeah.
Well, it was certainly a good fight, and like you say, it's
well,
one
so
of
was
the
good.
biggest
Ward
contributors.
Gatti 1 was good as well. They were all good fights. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you recently worked with Lawrence Okolie, didn't you?
I've worked with Lawrence since he turned pro.
So Okolie, he's absolutely smashing the cruiserweight division, and there has been talks that when he hopefully continues cleaning up in the cruiserweight division, he's going to potentially step up to heavyweight. Do you reckon he'll fare well in the heavyweight division?
You know, it's a good question, Gus. He's got the reach, he's got the height, he's got the power.
He's certainly got the power.
But he's only 14'4".
Yeah.
So he's got to fill out a little bit, and if they think that's right. Shane's a very knowledgeable man. Shane's a good man to be around. And he's done some good things with fighters. He's really improved Lawrence, without a shadow of a doubt, you know. So we'll have to wait and see. Ifs and ands made pots and pans, there'll be a lot of washing up in there, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
And like you, I think he's definitely got the power. He's got good movement, he's got a solid jab. He's certainly improved since some of his earlier fights.
Do you know one thing he knows to do? He knows how to spoil. If they get too close, he knows how to tie you up and spoil.
Yeah. And some people, I think, I was just about to say, he got criticised a little bit when he first started out. You know, people were calling him a boring fighter. He certainly turned that around, and in the heavyweight division, everyone knows you want to see knockouts. He can knock people out.
Yeah, of course he
It'll be exciting. Like you say, I think he would benefit from filling out a little bit, but he does live the life, doesn't he? He lives in the gym.
Yeah, he lives in the gym.
He's come from that background of, I believe it's well-known knowledge that he felt was a little bit unhealthy as a youngster. Then he turned his life around, which is obviously, we love stories in boxing. As boxing fans, we love a backstory.
Yeah.
It's like anything, isn't it? So no, it'll be really exciting to see.
You look at Ryan Burnett. You look back at Ryan Burnett. He used to tell us about stories where him and his dad used to sleep in a car. They'd know where to sleep.
What, when they were in? Just generally?
Just generally, yeah.
That's what I mean.
People don't see some of the things and know some of the things, but you get to talk to them. But Ryan was a lovely man, very, very quiet, very placid.
Do you stay in contact with him?
I spoke to him before on Facebook and that. He's got the same birthday as me, both May 21st, so we exchange like that, and I comment on things, he comments on things, but when they move on, they go on and they do their own thing, but you just always message and say hello. It's like anybody. It's like anybody.
So in regards to the other fighters in the heavyweight division, we've got Derek Chisora, we've got Joe Parker fighting on the 18th of December. What's your prediction and comments on that?
Chisora's a tough man. He pushed Usyk, even though Usyk won. He pushed him and he really put it on him. But I just think Joseph Parker under Andy Lee will be a little bit too much.
They'll have a game plan.
I think Andy Lee's another knowledgeable man through Adam. He's going to box him, try to make him miss, make him pay. So and he's been doing some good sparring by the look of it as well. So yeah, I'd pick Parker.
Like you say, Chisora is an absolute beast, and you're going to have a tough night when you get in there with him.
He's nobody's fool, that's for sure.
No, exactly. But as you say, I do think he is beatable. No disrespect to Chisora, but I do think he's beatable. He's been beat a few times. I think if you have the right game plan, you could overcome his power and pressure that he puts on you. But one thing he does do is bring a fight. I think today is the day that marks his first fight with Dillian White.
Yeah.
And that was an absolute British bust-up, wasn't it?
It's a good fight. Yeah,
so...
time will tell.
Absolutely.
In the heavyweight division, you've only got to make one mistake, and it's all over.
And it's gone. And finally, your prediction for Katie Taylor this weekend?
This girl's no mug either. She can get in and get out. She's got reasonably quick hands. I just think Katie will be too fast, will work the body, and I think she will wear it down. I think she'll win it on points. Yeah.
On that note, Ian, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming down. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, mate. Hopefully I can come again and see you.
Anytime you want.